So before I get into this video, I just want to tell you about a company called Firing Table. Their service grows Instagram accounts organically while the users can focus on what's important. The amazing content. These guys are constantly following, liking, viewing stories, etc. They do what any user could do if they had the time, but they do it for you 24/7. These guys take the tedious, annoying parts of growing an account away from their clients for just $29.95 per month. Now you know that I love me a bit of Instagram. I'm Instagram all day, every day. I love it. We used to have a great Instagram account for Most Amazing. If you guys want to organically grow your Instagram and increase your social media presence, then check them out. Their link is in the description box down below. Hello and welcome back to the most amazing channel on the internet. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate, and today we're talking about the top 10 Chicago urban legends. I love me some Chicago. I love some deep dish pizza. I love the bean. It's all good in the Chicago hood. I went a few winters ago and I would love to go again for some summer adventures. Have you guys been to Chicago? Are you from Chicago? Let me know what city you're from in the comment section down below. Also, while you're down there, why don't you hit that thumbs up button and share this video with a friend. Also, if you guys want to connect with me on social media and see my future Chicago adventures, then my link is in the description box. Alright, coming in at number 10, we have the haunted Oprah Winfrey Show. What? The Oprah Winfrey Show is famously filmed in the Windy City near the spot of one of the worst boating disasters of all time. Now this resulted in the largest loss of life from an incident in the Great Lakes. In 1915, passengers were boarding the SS Eastland, which was docked in the Chicago River. Workers from Hawthorne Works were off to a picnic. It was a full boat and this caused weight distribution issues, and then the boat listed to one side, rolling. This trapped some passengers below decks, others were crushed by heavy furniture. 844 passengers and 4 crew members died in the disaster. The dead were taken to a nearby armory building which served as an impromptu morgue. Fast forward decades and this building is now a warehouse and a film studio where the Oprah Winfrey Show is filmed. Many members of the show's crew have reported seeing and hearing strange things in the building. There have been reports of screams from the doomed passengers and even some apparition sightings. The most frequently spotted ghost is the Grey Lady, who is often seen stalking the halls. Coming in at number 9, there are 12,000 corpses underneath Lincoln Park. Parks, gotta love them. Green spaces, picnics, lemonade, a few cheeky beers, some banter, frisbee, fun times, and thousands of dead people. Wait, what? Yep, that's right. Rumor has it that Lincoln Park is built on an old cemetery, and surprisingly, this urban legend is true. Between 1843 and 1865, there were 4 different cemeteries in the spot where the public park now is. The city was eyeing up a spot for the park, and after the fire of 1871, they had the perfect excuse to start again. While some bodies were exhumed and moved, around 12,000 remained under the park. When the zoo was built in 1962, bodies were unearthed and reburied. With that many bodies, is there any surprise that there have been a number of ghost sightings in the area? Coming in at number 8, we have the legend of Mrs. O'Leary and the fire that killed 300 people. The Great Fire of Chicago is one of the most horrendous things that happened to the city. 3.3 square miles of city burnt from the 8th to the 10th of October 1871. This also left hundreds of thousands of people without homes. The popular legend blames Mrs. O'Leary, you know the song, Late Last Night. Before she went to bed, Mrs. O'Leary, she hung a lantern in her shed, and then the cow, he kicked it over and he winked at her and said, "It'll be a hot time in the old town tonight," right? You know the score, basically. We all know the score. I'm from England and I know the score. Now the problem is, poor old Mrs. Leary never actually did it. She was a poor Irish Catholic immigrant and was made a scapegoat because of Protestant founders of the US being distrustful of Catholics. Also, there was a lot of anti-Irish racism around the time. Reported by Michael Aaron of the Chicago Tribune, he actually was to blame for fanning the flames on Mrs. O'Leary's reputation. But it was already destroyed because people across the world are still singing songs about it today. She was pardoned by Chicago City Council in 1997, as was the cow, but of course it was far too late for them. Nonetheless, the legend lives on today. Continuing with the Great Fire of Chicago, we have the haunted water tower at number 7. In the fire, legend has it that one brave citizen pumped water from the iconic Chicago water tower to try and help quell the flames. The water tower on Streeterville survived the blaze as a result of the man's actions. He proved himself a hero as he manned the pump ramps instead of fleeing for his life. Then, as the metal structure got hotter and hotter, the flames rose around him. The man knew he was gonna die. Rather than die slowly and painfully, the legend has it that he hung himself from this structure. Legend also has it that sometimes people still see his body hanging through towers upstairs. This has been confirmed by a police officer who saw his body hanging through a window, but then when he went to investigate, there was no one there. Coming in at number 6, we have the Devil of Hull House. Is this the real-life story behind Rosemary's Baby? The story spawned the popular movie, and this could actually be the true-life explanation. The Hull House was a focal spot in the Chicago community. Jane Addams took the building over in the late 1800s and ran it as a woman's shelter. Jane reportedly took in a woman who was heavily pregnant and whose husband had abandoned her. It seems the midwives in Jane's employ would not go near the child after it was born. Why? Because it had a monstrous appearance. The legend states that the baby was born a monster because his father yelled to the heavens in frustration of being given only daughters. He reportedly yelled, "I would rather have the devil in this house than have another daughter." What a man. Jane kept that baby a secret, but one day, 3 Italian women burst into the house and demanded to see the devil baby. They said they knew a baby had been born with pointed ears, a tail, and cloven hooves. The woman caused such a fuss and would not leave until forcibly removed, and then the locals started talking. Soon a crowd appeared at the house and people wanted to get a look at the child. The mystery was never resolved, but there have been many whispers of hauntings at the house. Some people report seeing the devil's face at the window of the house to this day. Coming into number 5, we have the legend of Homey the Clown. Homey the Clown is a classic Chicago urban legend and long predates the creepy clown sightings of 2016. In 1991, there were a slew of reports about a creepy clown cruising the streets trying to lure kids into a red and white blue van with "ha ha" written on the side. The clown was dressed as a TV character called Homey and was said to be offering up candy and money to children who would come with him. The police had a lot of reported sightings, mainly from children. They dismissed a report from 2 10-year-old boys in Oak Park, suggesting that the kids had banded together to troll the police. Nonetheless, this didn't quell the rumors, and a whole epidemic of sightings sprung up over the city. The clown, however, has never been caught. A lot of kids around the 90s in Chicago will remember Homey. Coming in at number 4, we have the machine guns of the St. Valentines Day Massacre. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre is no urban legend. It was a very real and gruesome morning of bloodshed in 1929 during the gang-riddled era of Chicago. 7 members of the North Side gang were lined up and shot with a machine gun against the Lincoln Park garage. This led to further bloodshed between the Irish North Siders and the Italian South Siders, famously led by Al Capone. While legendary, this is irrefutable truth. The urban legend slips in as people claim the Clark Street spot is still haunted by the massacred souls to this day. Civilians report hearing screams in the area. There have also been a lot of reports of animals being freaked out as they pass by the spot. Coming into number 3, we have the knocking ghosts of Flight 191. On the 25th of May 1979, American Airlines Flight 191 crashed moments after takeoff from Chicago's O'Hare International Airport. 258 passengers and 13 crew were killed, as were 2 people on the ground. This insane death toll makes it the worst aviation accident in the United States history. Just as the jet was beginning its takeoff rotation, the left engine separated from the left wing and smashed into the runway, severing hydraulic fluid lines. As the plane began to climb, the damaged left side of the plane produced less lift and caused the plane to roll. This then made the plane crash into an open field by the airport, killing everyone on board. Now, the pictures from the aftermath are truly harrowing indeed. Debris was hurled into nearby trailer parks, which destroyed 5 trailers, but that wasn't all the trailer park would see of the crash. As the years went on, people living at the trailer park have reported frantic knocks at their door, only to open them and find that there's nobody there. One resident reported coming across a worried man who claimed he needed to make a connection. Another man in the area was walking his dog when he came across a man in a suit that smelled of gasoline. He told him that he needed to make an emergency call. Coming into number 2, we have the Italian Bride. Mount Carmel Cemetery is best known for being the final resting place of Al Capone and a number of his gangster cronies. Also resident in the cemetery is the much famed and deeply mysterious Italian bride. The bride wasn't actually a bride at all. She was a young woman named Julia Baccola. Unfortunately, she died aged 29 in in childbirth in 1921. Now, she was reportedly buried in her wedding dress, which sparked her urban legend name. Following her death, her mother had a string of wild and vivid dreams that her daughter was not dead. Julia would tell her that she was alive and she needed her help. She had to come to the cemetery and save her. Finally, 6 years after her daughter's death, the dreams got too much for Julia's mother, who had her daughter's body exhumed. When the casket was opened, Julia's body had not decayed one bit since the day she was buried. Creepily, on her gravestone, there's a picture of her body after she was exhumed, and yeah, she does look pretty freshly dead, which really sometimes is the best a gal can hope for. Finally, coming into number 1, we have one of the most popular Chicago urban legends of all time. We have the story of Resurrection Mary. Ah, the vanishing hitchhiker. This urban legend is pinpointed to the southwest of Chicago in Justice, Illinois. Since the 1930s, around 30 men who have been driving along Archer Avenue between Resurrection Cemetery and Willowbrook Ballroom have reported being hailed over by a young, blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman in a party dress. Further reports say that she is wearing dancing shoes, a shawl, and holding a small clutch bag. The men that have stopped for her and let her in their car have said that she's softly spoken and shy. The woman asks to be dropped off at Resurrection Cemetery, and then she disappears in front of the gates. The legend says that this girl was in the ballroom with her boyfriend in the 1930s, but they got into an argument and she decided to walk home. Sadly, as she was walking up Archer Avenue, she was hit by a car that then sped away. Left for dead, she unfortunately died at the scene, but her spirit is still searching for a chivalrous man to drive her home. Other reports have involved drifters braking suddenly when they see a woman in white in the middle of the road. So guys, that was the top 10 scary Chicago urban legends. What city are you guys from? Don't forget to let me know in the comment section down below. I'm from Cambridge in the United Kingdom. I live in Toronto, Canada, and I love it. So before I head out, I just want to read some comments from one of our most recent live streams. Now, me, Danny, and Landon love getting together to stream, and I loved hearing what you had to say. Now, ironically, Real Madrid fan said, Mexico's gonna win the World Cup. Let's go Mexico. What about Spain? That one guy you see everywhere said, I didn't even know you guys did live streams. Absolutely, we're going to be doing them more and more. We're having a live stream room built downstairs in our studio, and we're very excited. Shim City BTS said, Danny at 12104 looks like the classic good guy who's out with some friends and has smoked so much pot for the first time that he's confused. He's wondering who the hell he is and why the lamp on the sidewalk is moving like it's waving his hand at him. Like, what an accurate description. Good. Good. Thank you everyone for watching this video, and also thank you to everyone that tuned into the live stream. Do make sure you watch our next one. We'll let you know in advance next time as well. So what an adventure! What urban legends would you like us to make next? Let me know in the comment section down below. Once again guys, I just want to remind you about Firing Table, our sponsor for this video. Go check them out if you want to grow your Instagram following. For now, I am still your host, Rebecca Felgate. Once again, if you want to connect with me on social media, my link to my Instagram is in the description box. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, share this video with a friend, and stay subscribed for more most amazing lists. Bye!